and on today's video I'll be talking to you guys about the full moon in Aquarius that is upcoming on August 19th, 2024. So you guys are getting your full moon and new moon readings a little early, which is great because that is my goal, to get these readings out to you before the transits hit. But also I like to take my time. So if you don't get the readings when the transits hit, then know that it's because I am continuing to contemplate on that transit before sharing the video. And with that being said, remember that all my videos are timeless. So if there's a transit video that you want to go back to, or even just a transit in human design or astrology that you want to go back to, you can feel free to check my YouTube collection and playlist on human design, gate contemplations, as well as astrology. All the videos are there. All right, so without further ado, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. I'm a wellness entrepreneur, human design reader, mom, I'm a projector, and so much more. And I also run a little apothecary called APOTHECARY, and I make sea moss gel there. So if you're interested in trying sea moss, feel free to check out my website, withlovecole.com. Also, you can see tons of services and offerings that I have there. All right, so and a little more about me, because of course, like, you can watch videos on my channel, but maybe you want to hear me talk about myself or share, you know, kind of like a compiled database or information about me. To learn a little more about me, that is also going to be found on my website, my story. So all right, without further ado, let's hop into the upcoming transit. So as you guys know, I always have my phone with me. This way I can read back my notes, because I cover a lot of information in these videos, and that is also why they're timeless, because as you watch these videos, you're going to learn information about human design, as well as hear about transits and also the zodiac signs related to those transits and the planets. And that can really help you start to understand or get deeper than a foundational level of what it is to, like, understand your personal natal chart, your human design chart, and, you know, just the language of the gene keys and the hexagrams and the human design gates. All right, so for every one of these videos, I create an IG graphic that goes with the videos, and sometimes you guys get the video first and sometimes you guys get the graphics first. Well, for the full moon in Aquarius, you'll be getting the video first, so feel free to see the notes that'll be annotated on my Instagram through visual graphics. Along with the notes, I add some visuals to kind of help further get the point or the energy across of the transit. So if you're interested in that, feel free to follow me on Instagram at withlovecole, and it's spelled WITHLOVECOLE. All right, so within those graphics, I usually put writing prompts, as well as self-care, as well as covering the human design transits and our conscious sun and conscious earth that are happening during the time of the new moon or full moon. And I also give you guys a mantra, as well as some Easter eggs and some background information. So you're gonna see also anything I mention or describe in this video that I need to give a resource, you'll see that in the description, and sometimes I put it in the comments as well, so check it out there. So for this full moon in Aquarius that's upcoming on the 19th, which I think will be on Monday, I have for the mantra, set it off, as well as flow states, because we see that with our conscious sun being in gate 29, which is the gate of saying yes, this gate is a gate that has elements that are water. So in the I Ching, which is originally where the human design gates come from, the elements for hexagram 29 or gate 29 is chalice over chalice, or water over water. So with that balancing out with the energy of the programming partner, which is in our conscious earth, which is in gate 30, the gate of desire, and the elements there is fire over fire, I also have for the contemplation fire versus water. So we have set it off as a mantra, flow states as a mantra, and fire versus water. So just think about these elements and energies and know that they will be expressed in the graphics. All right. So we also have during this time transiting, we'll have Uranus in gate 8.3, and gate 8 is the gate of contribution, and in the third line this is about trial and error. So this is the line of the phony, and I have it written in my notes. I also find it fascinating that this line actually showed up in my Saturn return in its conscious earth. Conscious sun rather. So with that, I've experienced what it's like building out community, sharing my gifts, but also re-examining my friend groups. And that is really the energy you're going to be experiencing. Ooh, I feel something tickling me here during this transit. So keep that in mind. All right, so Uranus I have is an 8.3 in the line of the phony. So this is going to have us contemplating if we're in wrong relationship or right relationship, and knowing that these relationships can keep us away from the true partnerships, friendships, alignments, and even true love that we're destined for. So it's really, really important to use this time, especially when we have Uranus here, which is the planet of sudden changes, technology, really understanding how we can, one, use technology to cultivate community, but also use technology in a way that is going to help benefit us as opposed to bring us in wrong relationships or wrong interactions. All right, so I have the question posed here. What relationship can you end, and what can you sacrifice to contribute to humanity? Because since Uranus is the planet of sudden change, we have to think about, in order to create those changes, what may we have to give up, or what may we have to switch our time towards. We also have Saturn, I want to say, in Aquarius, and with that, we also have the energy of the collective and doing what's best for the collective, also doing the things that are going to be innovative for humanity, but also bring us in better fractals and more aligned fractals with who we are. And speaking of being in more aligned fractals, I do want to talk about celebrity and influencer culture. And this is something that's actually been trending in the media right now, because we do have particular celebrities and influencers that are deciding to be more private about their lives, and a lot of their audience feels no longer connected to them. We also see that these influencers and celebrities are mentioning that people are having parasocial relationships with them, and they don't really like it. But we have to think about and consider how they built their audience. They built their audience connecting, they built their audience being genuine and feeling one and the same with who they were speaking to. And now we're seeing this divide where the influencers or celebrities feel that they are no longer in alignment with the people who they are meant to be influencing. And that is causing this great schism and this sudden change in how we connect with people online. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a sip of this matcha. I also have been doing a 30-day no coffee challenge, and it's day 3. And I would say it's going pretty good. All right, so with our conversation about celebrity culture, influencer culture, I do want to talk about the fact that, like, how life is going to be changing in this way, right? So with celebrity and influencer culture deciding to become more private, we're going to see people who are more authentic or authentic in general become more popular, because they are able and willing to connect with an audience and also just connect with other people. They're not necessarily viewing social media as a way to gain followers, but they're viewing social media as a way to find aligned fractals. And by doing so, we see that they'll actually amass a large audience. But it's really, really important to remember being humble and keeping an essence, an energy even of modesty while you're going on this creator journey. Because if you're someone who's aspiring to be a content creator, then humility and humbleness is going to be so important for your growth and development, and also for maintaining an audience, because we see that's why a lot of influencers and celebrities are losing their audience, and we're seeing the death of influencer culture, because people are no longer feeling like they can connect. And also, if you feel that you don't want to share any information with your audience, then that very thing that connected them to you, which was maybe seeing you out on walks or seeing you talk about the disparities that you had to deal with, and you're no longer talking about that because you now feel like you're at a level where you don't have to, then just know that that energy is going to keep people away, because people want to feel like they can be transparent and they can be vulnerable. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, because today I'll be talking about gate 29 and gate 30 in human design. And again, gate 29 is part of the ring of union. So when we think about union and connectivity, it's all about finding mental solutions, being able to receive and give guidance, also committing and saying yes to something wholeheartedly, as well as being transparent and allowing moments of intimacy. And we see that in order to unite with one another and to connect, although we may be different, we need these moments to do so. So if you're thinking about the influencer journey, I highly recommend looking at this alchemical ring, the ring of union, in the Gene Keys. And I always list the Gene Keys book down below, but definitely check it out, because these are this is a way of understanding human behavior. But when we understand human behavior, we also understand ourselves better. And when we think about like what we would want and what we feel is the authentic connection versus transactional, it's gonna be these elements, the element of wanting to find solution and connect and have understanding. Again, wanting to be of virtue, of high moral standing, and have guidance. Also, saying yes and being devoted, and having a level of intimacy. So, yeah, consider all of that. Let me go back to my notes. Oh, yes. So, for this topic of celebrity and influencer culture, I am going to link Denise Matthew's full moon video. She actually put out her full moon video sometimes a few days before mine. We cover very different information, but all within human design. And if you're someone who has like a intermediate level of understanding of human design, I highly recommend Denise Matthew's channel. If you understand the gates, if you already know the arrows and certain terminology, she's going to help you dive deeper, especially when it's going into some of the planets that we experience during the transits. I cover the conscious sun and earth, and she tends to cover Jupiter, Mercury, Uranus, Pluto, all of these planets that we may see other effects, or how it affects our conscious sun and conscious earth, as well as ourselves. I also am going to be linking TarotbyBronx's Pluto and Aquarius video, because she talks about the death of celebrity and influencer culture. But of course, this is not going to be a death. This is not going to be a death for everyone. It is going to be about shifting your mindset, and we're going to see more Aquarian energy when it comes to transformation and when it comes to losses and moving through energy and rebirth, which is why also as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, we're seeing people go for novelty and authenticity, and people who feel real to them and connected, especially through the internet. People who are willing to be themselves online are going to be very, very successful over the next few years. All right, so the full moon in Aquarius is going to be in a Gemini degree, and Gemini degree that it is in is 27 degrees. So 27 degrees is a Gemini degree, and if you ever want to figure out the astrological degrees, this is an easy hack. So if you know the planets, the zodiac signs from Aries to Pisces, then just count from Aries being the first degree, Taurus being the second, Gemini being the third, and so forth until Pisces is the 12th. Once you hit the 12th, you go back again. The 13th degree is going to be Aries, the 14th is going to be Taurus, the 15th is going to be Gemini. Then when you do that again to the 24th degree, which is going to be Pisces again, you do another 3 degrees to get back to Gemini. So that is an easy hack on how I'm able to remember the degrees. And also when I see a degree connected to a planet or another zodiac sign, I know what energy it's giving, because I know how that degree falls within the zodiac. So I hope that helps. A little astrology hack. And then once you know the degree, you can always go online and look up the specific energy of that zodiac sign or how it is expressed in that degree or Sabian symbol. All right, so for the Gemini degree, 27 degrees. With 27 degrees is also in the last decan. Like if you were to think about 30 degrees, 1 to 30, Gemini is going to be, and especially in 27 degrees, is falling towards the end of that. So we're thinking about the end of Gemini, and so beginning of Cancer energy. And we're also thinking on our mind, or focusing on our mind, building mental solutions. We also had gate 4 pass, which is the gate of mental solutions, coming to an understanding, and forgiveness, which is being the language of full understanding. Because as they say, forgiveness moves to the future, to kind of like, it moves out of the past and it's like moving towards the future before it even happens when you forgive. So we are thinking about our minds, stimulation, communication, play, development, and short trips, all within this full moon. So it's an Aquarius full moon that is going to be landing in a Gemini degree. So it's going to have us thinking. It's going to have us wanting to do something unique. And that unique thing might be going on a short trip, or that unique thing might be tapping into our minds in a different way. One very full moon in Aquarius energy, which like gives that 27 degree energy thing that I did recently. I'm getting very tongue-tied, guys. Again, I'm on my 3rd day of no coffee, so that's a big part of it. But a activity that was very much within that energy that I did is do the human Tekar machine. And the human Tekar machine is basically a machine that you put over your body, and it like uses the heat of the machine to pull up ions out of your body. It's great for your lymphatic system. It's great for detoxifying. So the reason why I bring that up is because it is a very mentally stimulating thing, and it's all about our body and movement of energy. But it's also very Aquarian because it's an innovative machine, it's cutting edge, and it's super unique. So think about something that you can do this season that fits within that energy. So I also have in this video, in this note, about crashing out. And I want to explain to you guys what it looks like, because crashing out is a very popular topic right now on TikTok as well as social media. And it's the idea of pushing yourselves too far to the point that you either spaz out on somebody, lash out, cry, just have extreme emotions. So I'll be talking about gate 30 in a little bit in this video, but crashing out is like the energy of not being able to balance your emotional state and either go too far, or not even not far, but just too far. Because crashing out is a very physical, visceral response to, it could be anything in life. It could be like having a breakup, it could be a response to losing your job, it could be a response to responding as an overstimulated parent. But in the full moon in Aquarius, it's a reminder we don't want to crash out, because sometimes by crashing out, we affect our relationships and we show up as not as our authentic selves. We show up as someone who has a lack of emotional stability, and we end up regretting our actions when we crash out. So this full moon, don't crash out. Right now, the energy of the transits, and as you guys will check the other videos I post, it's a little volatile. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about going out this weekend or spending time with people you might not be as familiar with. Maybe give yourself some boundaries, like I'm gonna have just one drink, and if I go out, and then that's it. Or I'm gonna make sure I'm not out past a certain time, because you know that after a certain time you might be sleepy and you might not make the best judgments, right? Or not be as aware. So those are some things to consider over this weekend, as well as Monday when we have the full moon. So let's see what else. All right, so now I'm gonna give you guys the themes. Usually I cover the themes very quickly, but I can tell this video is gonna be longer because it's just a very pivotal transit. And for me, having my Saturn in Aquarius as well as Uranus transiting where my Saturn return is, I think it's very pivotal, and I know that it's going to be a lot of emotions and a lot of energies, and I think the best way we can prepare for them is knowing what is happening in the sky, right? And also connecting to spirit and trusting our intuition. So here are some full moon themes. I have investments because we're investing or seeing where our time is invested because Saturn rules time. So it's important to, while we're experiencing this Aquarian energy, see like what are we investing our time to, and is it things that are innovating in terms of bringing major change to the future, bringing better ideas to the collective, doing something that's going to benefit humanity and not just ourselves. These are all things to consider when we think about our investments. Also, clarity. Also, the color yellow, which relates very much to clarity, and I'll go into that a little more when I read Gate 30 or talk about Gate 30 in human design, because gate 30 is the gate of desire, and this gate is actually connected to like the heat of the summer and the yellow and sun, and that when we are struggling with our desires, it's really best to just connect with the sun, connect with the color yellow, put ourselves in the light, because that is really going to help our emotional wave. Also, the word demure, because we know it's been a demure summer. It's also been a brat summer. And if you are into demurity and demureness, this is all about keeping our cool. It's funny because people talk about demure it feeling like a Virgo energy, but demure can also be an Aquarian energy. Aquarians like to be cool. They don't want to act out. They think it's beneath them to be reactionary, and it's all about being our best selves. Also, Aquarians are the water bearers, so they always are going to come with the energy of a balanced Aquarian is always going to come with the energy of wanting to find solutions, bring better, be better, all of that. Next is innovation, timing, reflection, play, commitment, desire. And with play, commitment, and desire, these are definitely energies that fall around that 27 Gemini degree, because it's all about being able to trust the process of life and play as needed, and trust that playing is also part of that journey, because we can't live in anxiety, and we can't like, the Aquarians can see what's there, but it's about also trusting that although I see changes that need to be made, although I see reactions and things that I don't like, how can I show up, solution oriented? And how can I also show up in the best emotions, in the best spirit, so that I can actually do the work to create the changes that I want to see? And now I'm gonna hop into some quick self-care, because I do think I gave a lot of information, and I want to be able to give you guys some information on self-care to kind of like change the energy a little bit. And speaking of self-care, I'm in my Savage Fenty robe trim. So I'm going to link it. I'm going to link Fenty. So if you guys want to get this robe, and I love it because I'm sitting, but this robe is like a short robe, which I think is super dope for lounging around the house, feeling lush. I also really love that this is like a fun print because it's a little out of the box. Still a classic print, but it gives a little spunk, so I love that. And it's also like, it's hot as hell because it's summertime. So it's a nice, because it's a light cotton blend and easy to wear around the house or just whatever y'all do. I know that now it's like a thing to wear lingerie outside. So, hey, style it how you want. All right, so some self-care. Since we're in the robe and feeling luxe, do a no coffee challenge. I am drinking matcha right now. I am on day 3 of my no coffee challenge, and I'm actually really loving it. It's really nice to not rely on coffee. And I also realized it was never coffee that I needed in the morning. It was just a warm drink. I like drinking warm things in the morning, or just a refreshing drink in the morning. So whether it's coffee or something else, like an Ayurvedic drink, or an adaptogen based drink, it's all beneficial. And I feel like right now my body really needs Ayurvedic medicine, like herbs and warm teas, and like things that are very nourishing, like even mushroom blended things like lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps. Like that is really nurturing for me, and it can be really nurturing for you. So that might be something you might consider. Whether it's coffee or whatever you need to take a break from, now is a good time to do a detox and also spend some time in the sun. Do something unexpected. Doing something unexpected, because I mentioned Uranus is in gate 8, which is the gate of contribution and sharing. Doing something unexpected could be doing something that helps share your gifts with others, but also isn't in the way that people would expect you to do it. Because we know that the shadow frequency of gate 8 is mediocrity. So how can you show yourself to be unique and stylish and individual? Pop out and do something cute, okay? Now, the next self-care prompt I have is spend more time in sunlight. Gate 30 relates very closely to sunlight and also our our emotional center. So with that, knowing that light and the amount of light our body receives regulates our emotions, really consider if you're getting proper sunlight at this time, and just whether you are or not, get more, because it's always good to get more sunlight. Next is pursue a desire wholeheartedly. So gate 29 is known as the gate of jumping into the void or the abysmal. And it's a reminder that when we pursue something, we go all in. So what can you go all in this month? It could be a passion project. It could be that unexpected thing that you're going to share or do. It could be becoming fully a content creator. I think we need a lot more spiritual content creators. So yeah. Think about that. That's something that's still very unique in the world. Content creators that's sharing information like this. So think about how you can still be who you are, still be fun and humorous and all these things, because with the energy of desire is the energy of lightness, but also adding information that can really change and innovate the planet. Very, very important. And we see that the people who are able to do both really are very demure, very mindful, very intentional. I had to do it. But we see that people who can do both, they are the people that we aspire to be like, who actually influence us and who make the world a better place. All right, so next is eat dark fruits like berries. And I'm going to talk a little bit of this more about this when I mention the Easter egg at the end of the video, which is related to this. But eating dark fruits like berries can really help with releasing antioxidants in our body. And I particularly love blueberries. I've been eating a lot of them, and strawberries. I have a toddler, and like that is literally their jam. Blueberries and strawberries and bananas. So eating dark fruits is really, really going to help with anti-aging, and also, doing that body technology. We focus so much about hardware, like physical technology, but our bodies are also a technology, and we can use the information around us, like knowing how to eat, knowing how to drink, knowing how to sleep, to better take care of our bodies and even reverse signs of aging. You guys probably can't tell, but over the past 2.5 years, I've noticed how much my skin has changed going through pregnancy, birth, postpartum. And now I'm realizing, okay, girl, you're in your 30s, early 30s, but 30s, and you need to start doing things to reduce the effects of aging and also anti-aging, like prevention, all of that. So a big part of that is diet and nutrition. When we nourish our bodies properly, we can definitely change the impacts of aging and even reverse it. And I have a video on my channel about a constellation called Hydra, which is basically about a water serpent that can live forever. So when I learned more about that, and also my connection with sea moss and algae, I'm just fascinated on how we actually can nourish our bodies so that we can live much longer. Who knows, maybe forever. All right, so before we get into our Easter eggs as well as the writing prompts, which I'll end the video on, we are going to now talk about human design gate 29, which is the gate of commitment, or the gate of saying yes. In the I Ching, this gate is called the gate of the abysmal, and in the Kuan Yin, which is the feminine version of the I Ching, the gate is called, I don't want to say saying yes, it's called the depths. Yes, it's called the depths. So you see in the I Ching, the abysmal, but it's called the depths. And I actually like the Kuan Yin expression of this hexagram because the depths actually go with the element of the hexagram, which is water, which is chalice over chalice. And when you understand water, especially a chalice, the depths is the deeps of the water, or the deeps of knowledge, the depths of wisdom, which is why it's connected to the High Priestess card in the tarot. So I kind of spoke a little bit about it, but let's read what I wrote in for Human Design Gate 29. I wrote saying yes, the elements are water over water. And I wrote jumping into the void, but I also put voice because I actually started writing jumping into the voice. And then I meant to write void, so I changed it, but I figured that was for a reason. That was a channeling. So part of jumping into the void is using your voice to say yes. Saying yes through your throat is committing wholeheartedly. When you're able to say that yes, like when you watch someone get married and you see their vows, it's the tone of their voice when they say yes or they say I do that you know whether they're fully committed or not. So this month, consider what can you use your voice to commit to. So this 29th gate is called the depths in the Kuan Yin, and its elements are chalice over chalice, water, water, juxtaposing the fire of its programming partner, gate 30, desire, which transits the conscious earth at this time. Gate 29 is linked to the High Priestess card in the tarot, which is the archetype of the goddess who is intuitive and can tap into the Akashic of deep wisdoms. And the Akashic is basically our consciousness. All the information that's ever been recorded is in the Akashic. It's basically like our spiritual library. So the High Priestess has the ability to tap into this Akashic, which gives them the depths of understanding or the waters of life. It's also called in the classic I Ching, the abysmal, which shows how commitment has an air of danger and underlying theme of trusting your feelings and life's processes. So when you commit, you never actually know what the outcome is going to be, but that is the beauty of saying yes and committing, because that devotion and that journey through that commitment is what brings you the outcome. When I started this YouTube channel, I just committed to putting out videos. I told myself I just want to make a lifelong commitment to creating on YouTube. And through that commitment, I've already made over 1,100 videos in the past 2.5 years because I knew that I had information I really wanted to share. And I'm someone who's kind of like a bubbling spring. Like I felt very sheltered as well as like confined during my childhood, and with that, as I've become an adult and I have all this life within me, these stories and experiences, I've now been like a water, like a chalice that's spilled over, that just wants to give out all the information. So with that, think about, like, if you're on a YouTube journey or any journey, how can you commit to it that you can trust that, yeah, the water might come out, but I'm trusting the direction it's flowing. I'm trusting, the environment it's in. So I said, this month, consider how your commitments make you feel and how often you trust your intuition. When we trust our intuition, we can move through the hardest of times with lightness. And there is a little Easter egg I'm going to leave here in my new moon in Leo video, which I just posted for the past new moon. I talked about how when you are someone who is, trusting the process of life or flowing like water, you can ride through the hardest of things like a galloping horse. And that is from the Lao Tzu. So, the Tao Te Ching, and the quote is by Lao Tzu. So if that is something that you're drawn to and more information on that, then feel free to check out that video. All my videos are timeless, but it's really about being able to understand that Zen koan and know that you can move through anything by being like the earth or being like the animals of the earth, particularly in that case, the horse. But we see that Zen koan written in ways that it reflects other elements and other things within life. But it's about following the changes and moving through them. All right, so now human design gate 30. This is the gate of desire, and in the I Ching, this gate is known as the clinging fire, right? So here's what I wrote. I said, our desires are our guideposts, reminding us of the direction we want to go and how we want to feel. Gate 30 in the I Ching is known as clinging fire because it's a reminder that how we feel brings us fire in our bellies. Like, think about when you feel really amazing or blissed out. How does your stomach feel? Oftentimes it feels settled, but it's like a continuing burning fire or passion that's there. Sometimes when we have butterflies, we might feel awakened, and it could just be because it's like a moment of pure joy or pure happiness or excitement, and we feel those butterflies. This is all connected to our emotional wave and our feelings and understanding our desires. So I wrote, the dance between intemperance and balance and self-pity and courage lies all within our feelings. So basically our desires end up being the framework of our goals or even the direction we move in, but it's our perception of our desires that are actually the root of how we emote, right? So this is why our perception is so important, and we see that when we're someone that is able to move out of the space of self-pity and move into areas of courage or just trust, we can really operate in a way faster, a way better place, because we can now move with our desires. So it says, here's a reminder, with the element of this hexagram being wand over wand or fire over fire, here's a reminder to choose light and warmth and enjoy the heat of the summer season. Also in the Kuan Yin and in the I Ching, this hexagram literally talks about getting sunlight at noon, wearing or keeping the color yellow around you, because this yellow color actually brings energy and light into our lives, and also getting the heat of the summer. So really connect to the sun this month. More light always brings more clarity. Think about it. There is the spiritual saying and the biblical saying, let there be light. That light is often our voice or the word of God or the word of spirit. And that is what is going to bring us clarity. So it could be reading books, that's very Aquarian. It could be watching a video like this, listening to someone connect ideas for you, or even synthesize ideas for you, could be very, very helpful. And I consider the type of videos I make kind of niche and also like offbeat. So it is very Aquarian because I'm Aquarius moon. So yes, light can come in all these ways. Choosing happiness in all its forms and moving along with the wheel, which is the wheel of life, you'll continue to shine brightly. And we see gate 30 in the 6th line is the spiritual woman who is able to shine brightly because she connects with light when she needs to, but she also takes time and allows the energy of her depths to hold her or guide her during this process of, you know, actions, and during this process of even taking in the light, like what the information they're ingesting, keeping the commitment and like the root of why you're ingesting the information, or the root of why you're taking in the light, to be the guide for you. And then I wrote, there is the 30th gene key. I want to touch on a few topics here. So I'm going to touch on the topic of suicide, as well as, and I should have said trigger warning, not too heavily though, so no worries. Also desires that make people feel they need to end their suffering, but it will not end their suffering. So for example, unaliving yourself, substance abuse, drinking, whenever we feel like we need to connect with this fire. And fire can also, it is the element of danger, but it's also the element of physical action. It could be violence. So think about this as the beauty of gate 30 is being able to tap into desires that bring you life, But if we are so overly reactional or emotional, we can tap into desires that actually bring more death, or burn us out. So like a star that burns out, and this is why I did the no coffee challenge, was because I did feel like I was ingesting a lot of coffee. I do know that part of that has to do with being a new parent and getting little sleep and working with the resources I have, but I also knew that at some point there was a healthier way to connect with the element of fire. Like, yes, caffeine is a great way to connect with the element of fire, but do I always have to make it coffee, or can it be matcha? Can it be green tea? Can it just be getting sunlight? Can it be exercise? So these are some other ways. And the reason why I brought up more serious topics, like I mentioned before, it really has to do with the fact that, like a star or like anything that holds and contains light, you have to be mindful of it burning out too fast. Like right now, I do have my tripod lights on, right? If I leave them on all day, they'll burn out. So similarly to us, similarly to the light, we need to make sure we get rest and following our circadian rhythms, working with the light. So knowing that noon is like peak sun usually during the day between noon and 12. So working with these cycles, working with the earth, working with water, so that we can really gauge our emotional center as well as our sacral center. All right, so now that we've covered the human design transits, let's hop into some writing prompts. And I said I wanted to read from the 30th Gene Key, but I don't think I have the book right next to me. Yeah, I might do another video for that. I think I've covered it enough where you guys get the idea. So for some writing prompts. So writing prompts for the new moon in Leo, here's what I have. What is paramount for me? So what is of the highest priority or order for you in your life? What should be paramount right now? And I think as we're talking about Uranus being in 8.3, about phony people, it's a reminder there's a lot of distractions. So think about what is paramount for you in your life. So instead of focusing on distractions or, feeling like you're fighting against the distractions, it's like focusing on priorities and how I can navigate bringing those to the forefront. Next is, where can I find authentic community? I have seen a lot of people talk on Instagram threads as well as TikTok and other social media apps and sites that they love using YouTube because YouTube feels so authentic to them. And YouTube also, I feel, is a long game. When you see someone who blew up on YouTube or became a YouTube creator, most times they had multiple channels before the channel that they had blew up. Most times it was like a spiritual journey that they went through as they were creating with no validation. And I think that process of coming online and being seen really helps you work through the emotional stuff you need to work through before reaching a very wide and visible audience. So I really, really love YouTube. I think there's a lot of dope people on YouTube who can give you wisdoms that can change your life. And it's a really great way of connecting to the fractals that you need and finding niche information like human design and astrology. So yeah, think about that and consider that this month, where you can find authentic community. And it may not be that for you. It might be another community, but yeah, just think on it. Next is, are my goals considering those I love? Because the Aquarian is the water bearer, they're the humanitarian, and they're always doing things with others in mind, even when it seems like they're being very egoic. Because I think that Aquarians can come off like they have a superiority complex. And the reality is they just know that they are innovative and they are thinking past what most people are thinking, because they're thinking about the future, and whatever they're doing for themselves is really about helping others. So with that, they're going to have that energy, but it's good to tap into that energy sometimes and consider, are your goals considering those you love? So the next writing prompt is, What unique spaces and places can I explore? And I kind of talked about that in terms of the internet space, but think about in your community. What I've been doing this month, and actually I just posted a reel today on my shorts. I have tons of shorts showing me as a stay-at-home mom and what my life is like doing that. But what I do, I really love to be mindful of where I go and very demure about where I shop at. And if it is it a company or a brand I would love to see more of in the future. And if I can't say yes to that, then I shouldn't be shopping there. So no matter what your budget is, so think about that. No matter what your budget is, because we are abundant and money is an energy, think about what brands and what places you would shop. And you can even start locally. There could be a few coffee shops. It could be the option of going to a franchise or a big box coffee shop or a local coffee shop where you know that your dollars are literally supporting someone's household. I've actually supported a coffee shop that my the coffee shop I was supporting is an entrepreneur business, and they have a child, and I knew that by supporting them I was literally giving money to this family. So consider that this month. Even today, the boba shop I went to is owned by the Thai restaurant that I've gone to, which I know is family owned. So I'm like, oh, they have a boba shop now, I'm going to support that. So there are ways that we can take action and be Aquarian in spirit by just putting our money where we want to see futures be. And by doing so, in the 10 years, 5 years from now, we are going to see those changes within the infrastructure of society. Oh, for example, even with this robe, Savage Fenty, I want to support Rihanna. She's West Indian, she's Caribbean like me. Like, so if I'm gonna buy some undies, I'm gonna shop her. You feel me? All right, so enough of a joking. Let's talk about, oh, also actually I do want to mention some other places. So I mentioned mostly food because food is important. But we even want to think about places that we go for enjoyment. Do you want to go to the Getty and support a museum that's been long-standing and beautiful and create is a container for beautiful artwork and artifacts? Or do you want to be at the club, which is fine, but it could just be a club that just popped up last week because there's just new managers? Think about all those things. For me, I really been dying to visit the self-realization center, which is the center of Paramahansa Yogananda. And the reason why I feel guilty about not visiting is because it's something I know I would love to see stay in the world. So part of visiting is actually, you know, bringing my energy there, but also showing the universe it's valuable and it's necessary in the Maya, in the matrix. And because we need it here, it should, because it's necessary to be here, I'm going there, but also I might even share it with others because I want them to go here, like I'm sharing it with you guys, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, it could be spiritual centers. I really love One LA. I've been there many times, so that's another place that I can say, okay, I can see myself going there more, because in the future, I would love an establishment like that to still be here because I know it's necessary and helps so many people along their journey of spiritual growth. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the Easter egg that I mentioned in the beginning when I talked about crashing out, kind of. So I talked about crashing out, and I think this relates because, as I'm telling you, during postpartum, I basically crashed out a little bit. I fell into habits that weren't particularly of me before pregnancy because I kind of went into survival mode and was drinking like 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. But for me, that's a lot because I was a person who would literally sometimes go weeks without coffee. It was more of a specialty than an everyday thing. So I burnt out. And when you crash out, you're basically burning out your body. And when you burn out your body, you age. So to help fight aging and crashing out, I want to talk to you guys about glycates. And glycates are basically the process of breaking things down. It's the way our body breaks down sugars. And because is basically, I think, connects the aminos and proteins to sugars, because it's like glucose, fructose. These are all ways that it breaks down. Um, the amount of sugar we take in can really affect our aging, and I had no idea about that. But that's also why I told you guys to eat some dark vegetables and fruits, because dark fruits are really going to help fight aging by giving you guys antioxidants, and also they help with that process. So I am going to link an article by Skin Appeal, and it's called Skin Aging Ingredients to Reverse Sugar Glycation, because that article is going to give you guys more information on how to literally reverse the processing of aging, especially after a crash out or after just like maybe burning your body out. I know that I've mentioned sunlight and warmth and fire. So some ways we burn our body out, especially now that I see that there's an uptick of people who use the herb, is by just overdoing it, drying out our bodies, drying out our skin. Literally vaping is like having burnt plastic. So these are all ways that we can crash out if we just ingest too much of things that are going to cause our body to burn instead of glow. And like the sun, we want to glow, we don't want to burn. All right, so so these were pretty long notes, but I covered them. And this video is pretty long, but trust me, it is so much filled with great information. And if you stay tuned the whole time, then you saw that. I'm grateful to be able to sit here and do this video with you guys, and also get a jump start on the full moon with you guys. Because usually as I'm going through the transits, I am still feeling my notes out and things. But this time I really wanted to get to you guys before, because that is the whole point, right? When you are kind of doing oracle messages and things, is to get it out before the transit, so you can learn to navigate or get the information you need or the inspirations you need to navigate the transits. So with that being said, I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much. If you stopped on this live and said a thumbs up, words of encouragement, or just thought it, I appreciate it. I'm hoping to give you guys an oracle message for this month. But if not, there's so many videos on my channel, as mentioned, that are all timeless, that you can watch, talking about human design, astrology, my motherhood journey, and so much more. Love you. Peace.